Recently, I have made a video where I was discussing, or at least answering, a question from one of the followers who asked, do family ties contribute when applying for a permanent resident permit? And I said no. And I've seen various comments and questions which discuss also on this issue, whether or not family ties contribute to applying for a permanent resident permit. And I said it would be wise if I can make another video clarifying the message that I gave on that recent video. Yeah, one thing I can admit is that there is not enough information on that video for you to get the whole picture. Yeah, and that's why I always advise people to go through the page so that they can get the whole information and get the whole picture at once. But of course, I will be helping you, as I will be making more videos discussing or at least providing more information. Yeah, so here is the clarification I can give on the video that I already made. I would say, let me put it in this way, that when applying for a permanent resident permit, there are two things that you must take into consideration. Number one is the eligibility criteria, or a requirement. I can say it like that. But number two is a condition for getting the permanent resident permit. When discussing about the eligibility criteria or the requirement, is that there are 5 categories that have been provided by the Immigration Services Office, and each category of these five categories has its own requirements that you must meet. So it will depend which category you belong, and these categories have been explained as paths. So the Immigration Services website says that you can obtain a permanent residence permit through one of the following application paths. Number 1, 6 years of residency. Number 2, annual income of 40,000 euros. Number 3, higher education degree completed in Finland. Number 4, higher education degree completed abroad. Number 5, particularly good language skills. So each of these 5 categories has its own requirements that you must meet for you to apply for a permanent resident permit. However, there is a condition that you must meet for you to be granted that permanent resident permit. And the condition is that you must still have the grounds for the continuous resident permit. You must still have the grounds. So if you have lost the grounds for having a continuous resident permit, you will not be granted a permanent resident permit. That is, I understand. So we have requirements, we have conditions. That's how I understand, and this is the perspective which I used to answer that question, or to explain that family ties. No. So how can I put it? Family ties comes in holding that ground for a continuous resident permit. If you still hold this ground, then you will be granted a permanent resident permit. So it's not like a direct connection. And maybe let me add one more information, that if family ties in its own contributed to applying for permanent resident permit, then some partners had no need to wait for 4, 5 years or 6 years before they can apply. As long as your partner has a permanent resident permit, you should be able to apply and get it right away. Yeah, but it's not the case. You have to meet the requirement and still hold the ground for a continuous resident permit. Then you can be granted a permanent resident permit, as far as I can understand. Yeah, and also one very good follower, and this is my brother, he also asked, what about the minors? Well, for the case of minors, if an applicant is a minor, according to the text in the MIGRI website, they can get a permanent resident permit without the required period of residence. If the guardian has the permanent resident permit already, they can get it without the required period of residence. Yeah, according to the finished text. Yeah, but the family ties I was discussing is you being the applicant and using some other member, as a family member, maybe as a child or as a husband or as a spouse, to apply for a permanent resident permit. This is the context I was discussing. So not from a child to you, but you as an applicant, can you use your child as a family ties to apply for a PR permit? Yeah. I don't know if I provided some clarity or we need more information, but of course I will make more videos discussing about this topic until when we have all been very clear about these requirements and criteria. All right, see you soon.